I guess it must be, almost a year ago when I got my new fridge. And I knew in order for whoever delivered it to get it through the door, I was going to have to take off the bottom door closer. There was two. There's one of these at the bottom, and there's one at the top, which is still there. And so I took it off, and then I discovered that I really only needed the one. And I probably will never put this one back on unless something happens to the one at the top. Anyway, so what's that got to do with the model ship? Well, I was getting comments about my squeaky door hinges yesterday, and I was reminded again when the bird seed came yesterday afternoon. It's not the hinges, it's the door closer. Somebody suggested maybe a little WD-40. Well, the WD-40 might also work on the door closer. So so those of you who are worried about my squeaky hinges, it's the pneumatic door closer. All right. Now, I think about all we have to do is get this part glued in place, if I can hang on to it, that is. And I do believe this piece is done for a while, until it's time to paint it, of course. Now, a moment ago, I had our little homemade mini applicator here, and what I was doing was I took the cigarette lighter, and I was going to burn off the excess CA glue that was on the end of it, and it just went sort of like poof, like a flash bulb. And then on the end was this little tiny little ball that I thought, well, it's probably crystallized CA glue. So I tried to pull it off, and I could tell it was stuck on there pretty hard. Now I can see by looking at it up close that if I had pulled any harder, I probably would have yanked it right off. But then I got curious, what is that? And looking at it up close here now, I can see that it's molten copper, because this is a copper wire, and it just went poof. It was quite a little flash. Well, not a huge flash, but anyway, I thought that's kind of interesting. It's a ball of copper, and what I had planned on doing was making a little loop on it, so that it would sort of scoop out the CA glue here. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave it as a ball, and we'll try it like that. I don't know if I can put on the super macro and show you or not. I think we'll just go ahead and we'll just use the regular macro, and you'll probably be able to see that it's a molten ball of copper, maybe. Anyway, let's get at it. As I'm sitting here editing this scene out, I'm thinking, this all sounds so familiar to me. Didn't I do something like this before? Didn't I actually put on the super macro and look at it up close? I'm starting to worry about myself here. Now, if you will recall, yesterday when we positioned this in place, I was kind of wondering, well, I guess you wouldn't know that, but I was kind of wondering if maybe when I had done the electric drill thing, had we possibly bent this little bracket down too much. Now, I'll zoom in here, but in John Roberts' book, one of the viewers mentioned how there was a drawing. So let me move in. Okay, we got this profile drawing that shows that the the boom isn't at a 45-degree angle, but it's slightly down from 45. In other words, I know from your perspective you can't see it too clearly. In fact, you can't see it at all. But it is almost exactly right. So I don't think we have to readjust. Let me zoom back here. We don't have to readjust our bracket. I think it's almost exactly right here. Okay, on the end here, you can see that there is something molded in to represent something. I don't know if it's supposed to represent hooks or pulleys or what, but you can have either one above the other, or you can be twisted 90 degrees so that it is sort of horizontal. You got one sticking out each side. I would think that probably one out each side is what it's supposed to be. Now, I was also noticing, and I'm sure you saw it too, you see a piece of flashing right there. Now, I don't know if I dare try to remove that and scrape that off, because this is usually where I really get myself into trouble with little parts like this. When I try to remove flashing, that's when I break them. I think I'm just going to carefully try and do it off camera and see if I can't get rid of that little, at least I think that's supposed to, yeah, that's flashing. That's where the sprue was attached. Yeah. Okay. Hey Ron, I thought you said you were going to do this off camera. Well, you know how it is. Videoing this, or trying to at least, is half the fun. Now, there was the flashing we were looking at earlier. I think I can move in just a little bit closer. Oh, by the way, I put in a brand new number 11 blade here. Okay, so I'm noticing that there is a very, very light molding seam. See if I can just gently get rid of that. Down here at the end is where that little flange is that's supposed to go into the, stop the thing from going all the way through. Okay, now this is the place right here. Can we scrape that off? Those of you that followed me in my pin turning series, I was always using a scraper when I was turning down the... I found that a scraper worked actually quite well. Yeah, I liked it a lot better than a gouge. Less chance of getting a catch with a scraper. Now, I don't want to take this down too much. I just want to get rid of the worst of it here. Okay, let's just turn this over now and see what it looks like on the other side. If I can. Come on, turn over. Turn it over this way. It's so slight I can't see it. But I do believe I got rid of most of the seam. Okay, if I use the extra fine sanding stick on it now. Okay, enough of this. Oh, I should show you here. Now, you see this one right here? I believe that is supposed to be there. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be there. That looks to me like it was part of the, yeah. And then down here at the other end is those. Okay, Now I do believe it's better, and I didn't break it. A little bit right there. You know what? I'm going to leave well enough alone. Okay, you probably can't see it. Let me check the monitor. No, it's too far up to the right here, but that little bump that was on the, that we were looking at, this molded on there, I think I'm going to have it up so it's visible. And now, before I dip this into the CA thin, maybe you can see here that this is a little brass ball. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Okay, I'm going to dip it before it cures. Now, you know I always put on way too much. Okay, that should be all we need. Now, in order for this little molded on whatever it is to be up and visible, it meant that these two pieces have to be one above the other instead of horizontal, if you know what I mean. Yeah, okay, let's try not to break that. Let's go to our manual and see what is next. I can't see anything else that we have to do here. I think we got it all. So as we sort of move across, in order to work on this step, we have to make these parts right here. And once again, oh goody, photo etch. Now there are two plastic parts, and somehow we've got to make a little pulley system out of these four pieces. I think we can probably manage this. When we moved here, back in the late 80s, this tree was a little sapling. In fact, it had just come from the nursery, and it was like a twig. It was only about this high. But there's a bird feeder here on the tree. Neighbor put it on. Actually, this is the neighbor's tree. And what happened was the birds got the seeds, but so did the squirrel. Now, I've got another idea for my bird feeder. Bear with me, we will get there. Now, I had been concerned about the fact that if I was to put the bird feeder in the backyard here, it would be hard to get to in the wintertime. But if I was to put it just outside, hang it from the eaves, just under this window, then I wouldn't have to go tramping back through the deep snow in the wintertime here, and it can get quite deep here. Well, maybe not this high, but yeah, and I could just sort of reach out the window and service the bird feeder. I don't see why that wouldn't work. Just hang it from the eave. Yeah. I'm upsetting the dogs. Okay, let's get the easy ones first. We need two E45s, these little pulley things here. Now, I know a person has a tendency to think, well, I may as well take off this little piece of flashing right now, but you know, I might need it to hang on to to get this other piece off, so I think we'll just leave it on. Yeah, I can see how that has to go. It seems to me we made something very similar to this before. Okay, now we need photo edge B, 50 and 51. Now I've already nipped off these ones here and spun it around. And obviously this is supposed to represent a cable or a rope, depending on whatever it is they used back then. Now this one has to be folded up rather intricately, you might say. It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to go. You can see these holes right here and here. That's where the axle for those little round parts that we nipped off goes. I'm sure you know that. Now I don't want this to ping. Okay, now if B24 looks to be a bigger part, it's because we were moved in a little closer than we were a moment ago. And there is paint on this that has to be removed. Did I mention I'm not going to paint the parts when they're on the fret? Stop saying that, you're starting to get comments. Okay, here we go. Now, I was not going to include this clip in today's episode, but I think we have time, so here we go. Keep watching just behind my shed. This is what the night vision camera caught. And it was, about 20 to 10. It was pretty dark already. Now, I think we did pretty good here today. I was noticing I didn't get this on dead straight. It's a little bit looking towards the, I guess you'd say the port. Or it's just the back of the thing. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to call it quits for today. And if I come at it again later this evening, I will video it. No promises. We'll know in the morning. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you in the morning.